Hey guys, and today we're going to be doing a Hockey Talks video for the first time in a couple months. I'm going to be making my regular season predictions for the 2021 to 2022 NHL season. So how this works is I'm going to name off the division and what place the teams will be in and who has the wild card spots and why. So this was pretty tough to do, especially the Eastern Conference, because there were a lot of good teams in both divisions. The Central Division was hard to do, not so much the Pacific. But yeah, let's just get into this. So we'll start with the Atlantic Division. In first place, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs because they're a pretty good regular season team most of the time. And then in second place, I have the two-time Stanley Cup champs, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I definitely think that they're going to be able to make the playoffs. So in third, I have the Boston Bruins because they made pretty good upgrades in the offseason and they had a lot of players injured last year. And if that doesn't happen, then they're going to make the playoffs. And then fourth, Montreal, fifth, Florida. But those three spots, third, fourth, and fifth, could easily have Montreal in third or Florida in third as well. And then sixth, the Ottawa Senators are pretty much coming out of their rebuild now. They have a ton of good prospects. And hopefully they'll do good in a couple years once most of the top teams have, well, they're not as competitive. And then in seventh, I have Detroit. They should be able to make the playoffs in a few years as well as Ottawa, but for now they still need to get a couple elite wingers and stuff, or a couple good wingers. And in eighth place, I have the Buffalo Sabres. They've traded away most of their good players, and they're gonna trade away Eichel soon probably. So now let's move on to the Metropolitan Division. I'll announce the wild card spots at the end. And in first place, I had the Philadelphia Flyers. They did some pretty good upgrading in the offseason, and they're on a long streak of making the playoffs, then missing them, and they missed them last year. So I feel like they can go into first place. Carter Hart should be better. He definitely should improve. And in second place, I have the New York Islanders because they were super good last year, and that was without their captain, Anders Lee. And Ilya Sorokin has more experience this year, so I definitely think they're going to be really good. And then in third place, I have the Carolina Hurricanes. I definitely think they are elite. They have elite defensemen and elite forwards, so they're still a really good team. But their goaltending was questionable, or their goaltending management. And then in fourth place, I have the New York Rangers. They're going to be competitive for a while, and it should start like now. And fifth, I have Washington, the Washington Capitals, but I think Pittsburgh could take this spot from them. But Pittsburgh has Crosby and Malkin injured to start the season. Washington is pretty good, and Connor McMichael should get some playing time this season. So like in sixth right now, I have Pittsburgh, but I said they could be swapped. Seventh, I have the New Jersey Devils. Again, once most of these teams have slowed down, they're definitely going to have a playoff spot for a while. But yeah, I think they should be able to compete next season or even this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they could get into a wild card spot because they're super elite. And then in eighth, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets. Also like Buffalo, they're just rebuilding. They lost some of their good players. That's pretty much it. But who made the wild card? The first wild card spot belongs to the New York Rangers, so fourth in the Metropolitan, and the second wild card spot belongs to the fifth best team in the Metropolitan. The teams could be switched, but I don't think any team from the Atlantic will be able to claim that even one of the wild card spots. Maybe, but not both. Now in the Pacific Division, in first place, I have the Vegas Golden Knights. A lot of people are choosing the Golden Knights because they're the only team that's like almost guaranteed to make the playoffs in the Pacific. In second place, this might shock some people, I have the LA Kings. They have a ton of good prospects who should get to play for them this season, like Quinton Byfield and maybe Alex Turcotte and Arthur Kaliyev will get some more playing time, and they're definitely good. They also upgraded by getting Victor Arvidsson in the offseason. Now in third place, I have the Edmonton Oilers. They should be able to compete because of McDavid and Draisaitl, and like they always do, but I don't think they're going to have very much playoff success. But that's just a guess. In fourth place, I have the Vancouver Canucks. If they can't keep both Pettersson and Hughes, this will easily change. But at the time of this recording, it's still... I'm filming this on the 12th, but yeah, I don't know. If they can get both of them, then yes, they're still elite. And even if they just lose one, it's not that huge. I would rather see Hughes be on the Canucks because they already have some good forwards. They don't have very many good defensemen. So now in fifth place, I have the Calgary Flames. They're kind of probably entering the rebuild if they trade away like Gaudreau Monahan soon. So they might just try and compete for a couple more seasons and fall into a rebuild. And then in sixth place, I have the new Seattle Kraken. They upgraded in the offseason, even though they don't have a ton of star power yet. But they could fall into seventh, and Anaheim can move up to sixth. But right now, I have them at seventh. They're coming out of a rebuild too with Jamie Drysdale and Trevor Zegras. They joined them last season, and they are two of the top contenders for the Calder Trophy, and they're definitely going to be good in a few years. In San Jose, I have it 8th. They're just rebuilding right now. There's not really much else to say. Now in the Central Division, in first place, I have the Colorado Avalanche. They're a good team as well, so I expect them to do well in the playoffs too, but it might not happen yet. And in second place, I had the Minnesota Wild. They lost some pretty good pieces last year, or in the off season, but they're still pretty good. And in third place, I had the St. Louis Blues. This, like, third through seventh, they can easily change. I just put them here because I feel like they're still pretty good. And in fourth place, I had the Dallas Stars, but they upgraded in the offseason after missing the playoffs. But like I said, third through seventh could easily change. All 5 teams are competitive. Now in fifth place, I had the Winnipeg Jets. They're still pretty good. They have an elite group of forwards. Their defense was upgraded this offseason, and they have an elite goalie. So it's a pretty good team. In sixth, I have the Chicago Blackhawks. They're, with Jonathan Taves coming back and Kirby Dach getting to play the full season, they're definitely going to be a good team and a fun team to watch with all their young players and Seth Jones. And let's see how he does next season. And in seventh place, we have the Nashville Predators. Like, they're still good. They made the playoffs last year after they were in 8th in the Central at one point, or 7th. And like I said, 3rd through 7th could change, but for now I have them in 7th. But I could easily see them making the playoffs. And in 8th place, I have the Arizona Coyotes. And I don't know, they should at least try and upgrade. If they're going to move after this season, then they should at least try and have a good season before they move. But it's realistically not going to happen. And for the wild card, right now I have 1 from each division, which means right now Dallas and Vancouver will be making the playoffs, and teams that will be close include Calgary, Winnipeg, Chicago, Nashville, Seattle, Anaheim. So yeah, guys, that was my regular season predictions. A lot of these spots could have many teams because the NHL is pretty good, and a lot of teams are competitive. There are like less than 10 teams that are like only around 5 teams that won't make the playoffs. A lot of the other ones are question marks. So thanks for watching. And bye. Yee.